the girls with their nails done now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? I was sent this interesting email, and she once wanted me to check something out, and so I did. And I did a lot of research on it, and I did find something. Whether it is legit, I don't know. But she said, you need to check this out. Check out what was in a letter that had been on display in a British museum from 1871 up until the 1970s before they removed it. Totally laid out how we would have 3 world wars and who was involved and why. The third is laying out right now. The letter that you are referring to, okay, is allegedly written by Albert Pike to Giuseppe Manzini on August 15th, 1871. And it is often cited as a conspiracy theory, as a document predicting 3 world wars. It is said to have outlined plans for global conflicts, including the motivations and the outcomes, with a 3rd war involving tensions between political Zionism and the Islamic world, leading to mutual destruction and global exhaustion. Now, the claim is that the letter was displayed in the British Museum library until the 1970s, when it was mysteriously removed. Now, when I went and I looked, like the history of the British Museum and stuff like that, there was no solid evidence to support the existence of this letter ever being displayed in the British Museum. Both the British Museum and the British Library have confirmed they have no record of such a document in their collections. The earliest references to this letter appears in works like I'm not going to be able to pronounce this because it's French. La Diablo Diable au Zizem Ciseaux from 1896 by Leo Texile under the pseudonym Dr. Bataille, whatever. He is a known hoaxer who fabricated anti-Masonic and anti-Catholic materials. Now, William Guy Carr, who is a Canadian author, popularized this letter in his 1958 book called Pawns in the Game, claiming that it was copied from the British Museum, but then he later admitted that the museum denied the existence of this letter in their museum. So I found a letter, okay, between these two people, okay, but whether it is the exact letter, I don't know, all right. But this letter raises red flags. It uses terms like Nazism, Zionism, which were not common back in 1871, suggesting it's a later fabrication. The predictions also align too neatly with 20th century events, making it likely that the text was written or it was altered after the fact to appear prophetic. The narrative of a 3rd war pitting the West against Islam, as described in the letter, is often tied to modern geopolitical tensions. But this appears to be a case of retrofitting vague predictions to current events rather than evidence of a grand plan. So, skeptics, including historians and researchers, point out that the letter's origins are murky, with no primary source ever produced. It's often circulated in conspiracy circles, amplified by posts on platforms where users claim it's a blueprint for global control. And these posts lack verifiable evidence and rely on the letter's mystique to fuel speculation. With that being said, the letter's appeal lies in its attempt to explain complex global conflicts through a single shadowy conspiracy. It's worth considering that world wars are geopolitical tensions, often arise from a mix of economic and political and cultural factors, not a singular orchestrated plan. For instance, World War I stemmed from imperial rivalries and alliances, while World War II was driven by economic collapse and ideological clashes. Current global tensions, like those in the Middle East, involve layered issues: resource competition, historical grievances, proxy conflicts, rather than a scripted third war. Okay, so here I have the, hang on, I have the letter. Okay, here we go. It says, Albert Pike letter to Manzini. The Illuminati plan for 3 world wars, August 15th, 1871. The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Manzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. The Pike letter to Giuseppe Manzini was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977. This letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter existed. Giuseppe Manzini was an Italian revolutionary leader in the mid-1800s, as well as the director of the Illuminati. Albert Pike, historical Masonic figure, was a 33rd degree Freemason occultist and Grand Master, and creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. Following are apparently extracts from the letter showing how 3 world wars have been planned for many generations. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy other governments and in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that the Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agent of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and the political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist We shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against a world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude delusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. The manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Yeah. So that is the supposed letter. Whether any of it is true or not, I don't know. Like I said, the terms that are used, those are definitely not terms that were used back in the 1800s. So, with all that being said, I leave you with 2 videos that were sent in by community members, okay? I will see you guys in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less, and God bless. Ciao.
In case you're wondering whether Republicans cared about poor people or not, check out what Mitch McConnell just said about the big, beautiful bill and the pushback that he's getting from his constituents that are on Medicaid. He literally said, well, I know a lot of people are hearing from their constituents back home about Medicaid, but they'll get over it. That's right, they'll get over it. Like it's the season finale of their favorite show or something. You know, instead of something that could actually like keep you alive or keep you from going bankrupt forever. And I'm sorry, no, they won't get over it if, let's say, a loved one doesn't get the care they need and then they don't make it, or another family member gets put into such massive debt they can't do anything else for the rest of their lives except pay it back. I swear, these guys have no souls whatsoever. I mean, we know Mitch McConnell doesn't give a shit about anyone other than himself and his rich donors, but, I mean, come on, people. Like, when are people going to wake up and realize these Republicans don't care about anybody but themselves? Like, get over it? It's also rich coming from somebody who has fully subsidized health care from the federal government and has for decades because he is an elected official. I want to know, why is he allowed to have full health care, but poor people can't? That dude's never worked a hard day in his life. Like, he's been in the Senate forever. And just the disregard that these people have for human life is just unbelievable. The good news is everybody hates this bill. Even Republicans don't like this bill. There's a report even of people out in Western Kentucky, his constituents, who are pulling away, which is some of MAGA's strongest areas, because they're like, what's in this for me? And the answer is absolutely nothing. So let's make Mitch and Trump and all these people who would rather see poor people just disappear and go underground or something, let's send them a strong message that their bill is a complete pile of shit and we are not having it.
I had to read the article 3 times to make sure that I wasn't seeing things, that I wasn't taking anything out of context. Top executives from OpenAI, Meta, and Palantir, CTOs, CPOs of the biggest tech companies in the world, were sworn into the U.S. military, not as advisors, as lieutenant colonels in the Army Reserve. What? Since when did unelected billionaires become military officers without boot camp or vetting by the public? When did we give the people who are in control of our data and digital lives military rank? This is some sci-fi dystopian shit, right? Like, this is real. This is real. This new unit just opened the door for big tech to directly control military innovation. AI, surveillance, cyber weapons, autonomous drones. You think this is about advising? No? Wake up. Are you guys comfortable with the merging Silicon Valley with the US military? We're watching the government hand over the keys of national defense over to the same people building AI that can manipulate elections. They censor speech, as we know, and track every single thing you do online and profit off your personal life. This is not protecting America. This is securing control. If you're still out there defending this administration like they're the adults in the room, it's time for you to look around because this is not normal. Just think about it. If big tech and the military are one of the same, who's left to protect us from them? We are in trouble.